Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So it's the day after Liberation Party. Tariffs were going wild, obviously, today in the markets. The VIX got to 30. Markets were kind of crashing, not really hard, but they were still crashing 3-4%. So it wasn't a great day today for us, but we do have some good news at least. Right? Bitcoin at least isn't on the tariff list. So that was a good thing there. We'll talk about why it's not. I think it's pretty obvious. But we have Cleanspark. Blackrock has been buying into them like crazy here over the last couple of months. We'll take a look at the latest numbers that we have for them. We got also an update from Mara and Riot for their operational update for March. So, and then we'll get into Q&A. Should be pretty easy, pretty short. Let's get into it here. But always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for tuning only. Please do your own research. Full disclosure below that. As always, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at here what's going on with really quick with the market. The market, like I said, did not have a great day today. It was pretty much red across the board everywhere. Microsoft was down 2.36. Google was down 4%. Meta almost down 9%. That's the technology sector there. We had some other ones. Electronic technology. Apple was down 9.25. Nvidia was down 7, almost 8% there. Oh, I mean, everything was down. Avigo was down 10%. Cisco was down 7.3. GE, geez, I mean, everything was down. Amazon was down almost 9%. Walmart was down almost 2.8. Home Depot was down 4%, right? So it's definitely having an impact on all these stocks, especially the ones that sell things to consumers. Those are taking quite a beating here. We'll see if this, well, we'll see how long this lasts, the sell-off here. Eventually, it's going to come down to a point where they're just going to be way oversold here, and then we might actually finally bounce after this. But this is what we get when we get tariffs introduced, and reciprocal tariffs, that is, going forward to 180 plus nations, or 180 nations, I think it was. So that's kind of what we got here with this. Okay. Now, the good thing is, obviously, Bitcoin did not get a tariff on it. So why would it, though, right? Certain things like shouldn't get tariffs. Netflix also was down about 2% today. It's kind of like there's no tariff impact on Netflix. Netflix is a streaming service provider. They don't buy anything. The only thing that they buy maybe is technology to create their shows and movies or whatnot. But that's about it. So it's a little bit of lunacy right now, a lot of fear in the market. That's expected. It's going to take a little while to wash this stuff out here, okay? Let's get into Bitcoin and see how that did. Bitcoin actually did pretty good today, all things considered. I thought it was going to go down a little bit more. I thought we would go down to like 78, 79,000 today because of the markets in general. But Bitcoin actually held up quite nicely today. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. Bitcoin actually finished out in the green today. We were up about 0.83%, up $684 on it. And we closed at 83,174. So great day, all things considering. Everything was pretty much in the red except for Bitcoin here. So that was good. I think gold, I don't know if I have gold in here. Let me see if I have gold in here. I don't have gold in here. I may have it in another one, but I took it out. But I think gold was even down today a little bit at some point. Markets, like I said, were down. Dow Jones was down 3.98. The NASDAQ was down also 5.97%. Then we had the S&P was being down as well, 4.8. So, I mean, we definitely crashed there. We do have a gap on it. And then the Russell 2000 was also down 6.42%. And with that, obviously, the miners followed suit as well. So Bitfarms was down, I think, the least out of the big miners here, at least. They were down only 4.3%. BitTier was down 7.5% roughly, still in line where it kind of ended up the last couple of days. Cypher was down 12.83%, a pretty big drop there. Cleanspark was down 7.61% on the day. CORZ was down 15%. That's kind of steep drop there. Hive was down 8%. Hut 8 was down 11%. IREN was down 10%. Mara was down almost 10%, 9.5%. Riot was down 8.98%. And then Wolf was down 11%. Smaller miners were down as well. What else do we have here? Some of the holders that hold a lot of Bitcoin were all down. MicroStrategy was down 10%. Galaxy was down 11.8%. XY, what is this one? Block was down 6.72% on the day. Coinbase was down 6.6%. So a little bit surprised by that these guys were going down, especially since Bitcoin does not have any tariffs on it. It doesn't make any sense there. But I think it's just the fear in the markets that is driving all this stuff down right now. Okay, so it's kind of where we are at with it. Not much we can do about it. We'll weather the storm. We'll be better off in the other part of it once we get past the storm on this stuff, I think. But right now, it's just going to be a mess for a while. It's going to be definitely a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty right now until things quiet down. Don't know when that's going to be, but I'm sure we're all going to look forward to that day when it does happen, and I'm sure we're going to celebrate like crazy. when it does. All right, let's get into the news stories that we do have here. Just see how Bitcoin is doing right now on April. It's up just a little bit here, 0.26, so we're still in the green here. We'll see where it ends up at, obviously, later on here. Bitcoin ETF inflows as well. We were in the positive yesterday, all things considering, even though BlackRock sold out of their ETF a little bit here. But today we're in the negative. We'll see where everything comes in for that. And then we do have a story that I just found out from Ernest Hamilton from X. He's a community member on Mining Mafia there. He provided this. I thought this was interesting. I looked into it, and sure enough, that is true. But he just said Cleanspark shared their 13GA filing with the SEC. BlackRock went from 19.1 million shares on January 9th to 43.2 million shares as of March 31st, sorry. 6.81% to 15.5% ownership now. That makes them possibly the largest share owner there in Cleanspark right now. So he's saying here, look who bought while everybody else was selling, right? I've been telling you guys that a lot of companies have been buying into the miners here over the last several months. And sure enough, we get some numbers on it right now. Also, a fun fact, as of 3/31, common shares count remained flat at 281.5 million shares, aka no dilution. That's awesome there, right? They've been talking that they're not diluting, and sure enough, they're not doing it. So that is fantastic news there. We got the SEC filing over here for it as well. This is BlackRock, name of reporting purposes, BlackRock, right? Sole voting power, 43.2 million shares. That comes out to be 15.5%. So we'll see if BlackRock becomes an investor that's going to be whispering in their ears to maybe go into HBCI, right? Like, what's the word I'm looking for there? Not an advocate, or gosh, there's always a word that I'm looking for that part of it. You guys know what I mean, where they go in and they try to change things around the company. Yeah, you guys know what I mean though. But we'll see if they do that. They definitely have the power to do that right now, but 15.5% is a lot. But that's still great, right? But a lot of the shares are owned by a lot of companies here as well. It's just not BlackRock. So this is good news. This is what we want to see. And then I believe with this being the picture here right now, or the case, for the long run, it's going to bode well for Cleanspark, other companies as well, Mara, Riot, other companies, Bitfarms, IREN as well, that have a lot of institutional ownership in them, because they're going to want to, pump their bags here. So I think these things will run eventually. But we just got to get through this crazy time right now that we're in, and then after that, we will be in a much better place. All right. Next here, really quick, we'll get into Mara here. They announced their mining operations for March, and it's actually really, really good. Really good month for them here. So Mara announced its Bitcoin production and mining operation update for March 2025. 242 blocks won in March, 17% increase month over month, and then increased BTC holdings to 47,531. They did buy some more, it looks like, in March as well. Not a lot, but they did buy some. Management commentary here. In March, our production saw a 17% month over month increase in blocks won, even as global hash rate and mining difficulty grew, said Fred Thiel, Mara's chairman and CEO. Our Bitcoin holdings surpassed 47,000 Bitcoin during March, and the 242 blocks mined were the first most in a month on our record basically. So that was good there. Mara Pool is the only self-owned and operated mining pool among public miners, offering distinctive control and efficiency. Operating our own pool means no fees to external operators, higher earnings, and superior performance. Mara Pool's luck factor has exceeded the network's average by over 10% since launch, meaning more blocks mined and higher rewards, which is true. So there are some benefits to it as long as you can run a good pool, and they are. So energized hash rate grew just 1% over February, and we expect to finish construction of our 40 megawatt data center in Ohio by the end of April. We will continue to focus on being the dominant player in Bitcoin mining while expanding our footprint in energy generation. Okay, so there's that tidbit for you. Number of blocks won was 242. BTC produced 829. This does include their JVs. Without their JVs, they're like at 808.5, something like that. Average BTC produced per day was 26.8, pretty good there, right? Higher than it was in February. And then energized hash rate grew a little bit here to 54.3 from 53.7. So about 600 petahash was being installed here for them. So if we look at Mara here on my chart and everything else, currently they have about 345 million shares outstanding roughly. We'll get an update when they report their Q1 results here, probably sometime towards the, I'm guessing, early May part of it. Stock price today was 11.23, market cap 3.8 billion roughly. Performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great, right? They had an actually pretty good week last week. They were up just a little bit, 0.73%, but otherwise they're down 30% from 12 weeks ago. Their BTC self-mined has improved here, right? On that, also, almost forgot, HODL. So 47,531 Bitcoin HODLed right now. That's valued at 3.9 billion. It's actually now, they're not being valued even on their HODL position as it is right now. 101,000, or it's 101% roughly HODL to market cap. So that is just crazy. They're just being valued on their HODL position and not their operations at all, which is nuts to begin with. So they are definitely way, way, way undervalued here from where they probably really, really should be. Okay. Talked about the BTC self-mined, 808. Their best was 884 back in November of 2024. And then they increased by 121 roughly Bitcoin here being mined. Revenue also went up a little bit here. That's a result of, one, mining more, but also they probably would have generated more had Bitcoin been up higher in price as well. But that's kind of what we have here. BTC HODL has continued to increase here like we saw, and I forgot to update this chart here. Forgive me, I almost forgot. Okay, missed one chart. All right, got that. So that's updated here, 47,531. Hash rate has been slowly increasing over the last couple months. I would say the last 4 months, but still increasing, so that's good. And then BTC per exahash efficiency actually increased to 14.89. That's also really good there. And then Bitcoins, how many of the Bitcoins did they buy or sold? Well, they actually bought, it looks like, an additional 328 on top of what they mined for the month here in March. Talked about that. What else do we have here? BTC sold, right? They bought about 28 million roughly worth of Bitcoin there. And then let's get down here to the analyst stuff side of things. As of today, there are now 575 institutions. Shares actually went up to 217,390 owned, and that represents 63.53%. So there is a decrease while shares increase. So I think there's been some dilution, whether it's through the ATM, whatever it might be, but they're diluting shares there, so we probably have more shares than what I have up there. We still have we have one more for strong buy rating here for them. We got one buy rating, 9 hold ratings, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price targets from the analyst went down to 30 from 43. The average went down to 22.04 from 24.86, and the low stayed the same at $14 for them. All right, for the month here of March, I had them generating about 68.7 million roughly in revenue. I did include some transaction fees in there as well, and that accounted for like 1.24%, something like that. Not much for all these guys here. And then we installed some miners here as well. We installed these 140 Tariffs miners, but possibly they don't provide real data. I still had these in here, so I put them in there. That's kind of where we got them to right now. And they were operating for 26.5 days here, which is a nice improvement where they were in February of 22 days only of operation. So nice improvement there. Definitely seeing that in the results of the Bitcoin being mined there. All right, going back to up here, using the numbers for March times 12 for the revenue, I get them at 23.87 to 35. That kind of coincides with the analyst targets as well. So being at 11.23, I believe that they're way undervalued from where they should be. Right? So not much more I can say about MAR. They've been definitely turning the ship around and doing much better in operations and things like that, which is really, really nice to see. And as always, full disclosure, I do own some shares of MAR. Not very much, but just a little bit. But they have definitely been doing much better. And the reason I bought into them is because they've been doing a lot better. So this looks good. I like it. I really, really do like what they're doing. So keep it up. Okay. Right now we're looking at about 211 million here in revenue for them for the current quarter in Q1. That is going to be a slight improvement over the Q4 figure, which was 204. Even with Bitcoin coming down, they actually are generating more in Bitcoin, so that's a good sign there as well. And then we'll take a look at maybe later on this week or next week sometime. I got to pull the figures for all the miners that have a HODL position, and how much will that impact the miners as far as Bitcoin price coming down quarter over quarter, especially what's the impact going to be on the FASB rules there. So we'll definitely talk about that later on. And then let's get into Riot here really quick. Riot also had a really good month of March here. They generated 533 Bitcoin here, a nice improvement over the 470 that they had in February. Obviously, we had a couple more days here, but nonetheless, it's still good. Bitcoin held increased as well to 19,223. Their deployed hash rate grew a little bit here to 33.7 from 33.6, and the operating hash rate total was 30.3, which is still a nice improvement over the 29.4. So they are improving their uptime as well. Total power creds came kind of low here, only 0.9 million here compared to the 2.8 million that they got in February. All-in power costs came in at 3.8, a little higher than they were in February as well, but not much. And then fleet efficiency stayed the same at 21 joules per terahash there. Some things to note here. Some quotes. So Riot mined 533 Bitcoin in March, which represents a new post-halving production high for the company, said Jason Less of Riot, which is true. Last time they were above, around this range was back in actually like April of 2023, which was around 2 years ago. So they're starting to finally get back to those numbers again, which is good. On that. Okay, the operational improvements on our sites, on-site teams have made our demonstrating results in both operating hash rate growth and Bitcoin production despite increases in network difficulty. Similar stance of, or similar comment of what Mara put out, right? During March, Altman's Saloon, a leading consulting to the data center industry, completed its feasibility study in relation to the 600 megawatt of available capacity at Corsicana facility for our AI HPC use. I'm pleased to report the study highlighted several factors which make the Corsicana site an attractive asset to serve potential AI HPC tenants looking to accelerate their time to market. Some of the attributes of our Corsicana facility for AI HPC use identified in the report include 1 gigawatt of secured power, its location in close proximity to Dallas, developable land acreage, and presence of fiber and water on site. The report also identified the potential to serve both inference AI and cloud-type workloads to potential tenants, further strengthening the potential market demand for and value of our Corsicana facility as an HPC AI data center. We look forward to providing additional updates as we work to continue aggressively developing the available capacity at Corsicana facility for these uses. Okay. I don't know. I mean, it seems like everybody, you kind of almost need to do like a consultant, getting a consultancy firm, because you need something to back it up, I guess. But I could have told them that they were in pretty good shape to do that without being a consultant. But here's a report of this consultancy. Feasibility study identified 4 key factors, right? 1 gigawatts, 265 acres of land, location 60 miles from Dallas, and additional growth potential through Riot's multi-site portfolio, supply chain capabilities, and powered land acquisition capabilities. So all good things there. But, I mean, did you really need a consultancy to do that? You probably paid them pretty handsomely there to do it. But nonetheless, at least it gives them a little bit of a credence, a little bit of a certificate or whatever you want to call it. It puts it on the books for them, and they did the feasibility study. It's all good. All right, now I'll just get a customer in there. That's going to be really tough right now because I heard Microsoft is pretty jitterish on expanding data centers right now. So, but we're also hearing stories that OpenAI is looking to get more megawatts from like CoreWeave to, or at least lease more rent, lease GPUs and all that stuff for the servers. They need more as well. So who knows? We'll see. Hopefully they get something good. And let's take a look at Riot here really quick as well for their operational update for them. Right now, Riot has about 350 million shares outstanding, stock price $7.30, market cap 2.5 billion or so. Give or take a little bit here. Performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great, right? Down 38% from 12 weeks ago. Current hash rate 33.7, future hash, or 33.7, future hash rate 34.4 is what I have them at right now. So they're pretty close to being fully installed with their Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin HODL is 19,223. That's valued at 1.6 billion for them right now, and the HODL to market cap ratio is about 62%. So not as high as Mara's, right? Which is definitely interesting there. That Mara's being not valued at all the right way. Bitcoin production here. This is their probably best month that they've had here. This past year, right? 533 coins mined. That's good. That was an increase of 63, so that's good to see there. Revenue came in at 45.35 million for them. A little bit of an increase from where they were in February, or 44.79. Bitcoin HODL has continued to increase here. They sold maybe like 2, but I think that's given out to Jason. One is given out to Jason and somebody else possibly there as part of rewards. And then hash rate has increased a little bit here as well to 33.7 for them. BTC per access efficiency, nice efficiency improvement here to 15.82. That's really good, like seeing that. And then what else? That's it for that. Going down here, institutions did increase to 523 for them. It's now owned by 200. Well, they now own 207 million shares, roughly. But again, the percentage went down here, even though we had an increase in shares, but the percentage owned went down to 59.99. I'm guessing dilution here. We'll see. Stock, as far as analyst ratings, we have 9 strong buy ratings, 6 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sell, price target of $23, average of 16.97. So that's down a little bit, and the low went down to 9. Right. It's also surprising when you look at this compared to Mara. Mara's had more hold ratings than the strong buy ratings here that Riot does. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe because, well, they've had it for a long time. So that's interesting that there is a difference between the two. I'm trying to figure out why on it. Not sure if it's because they hodl so much and they also have maybe more debt because of that hodl going forward into the future, which, right, is going to be due for a while. I don't know if that's the reason. Not sure. Going down here as well, we added a little bit for Riot for the mining side of things. We added about, like I said, 550 petahash, 600 roughly or something like that. To that, those were operating for 20 days. The rest of the stuff was operating at 28 days here. Really, really good. Nice improvement over where they were in February with only 24 days. So love seeing that. That got us to the 54.345 million, which coincides with the Bitcoin price here, average for month of March. And then based on that, if we extrapolate that data, multiply times 12 for the future revenues potential, we're looking at somewhere between 1554 and 2331. They're at 730. Definitely undervalued in my opinion right now as it is. And then the current quarter here looks like we're going to be about 142 million in revenue for them. And that's a nice improvement over the prior quarter. So that's roughly 19 million or so improvement in revenue. That's nice. It would have been nicer if Bitcoin had actually stayed around 100,000, whatever it would be, or gone up higher. But it is what it is. They still actually have a higher revenue for the quarter. So that's good. What else can I say about Riot here? Definitely like the fact that they are improving their operations, which I've beaten them down for a long time, going back to last year and the year prior where their operations were, I will just call it out like it was. They were really, really bad, crappy. But they have definitely improved on those things. They had issues. They got those issues resolved. It took them, I think, too long to resolve those issues, especially for the size of the company that they are. They could have probably pulled twisted some arms a little bit to get stuff done a little bit faster. But for whatever reason, it took them as long as it did. So it is what it is. But they are improving, which is good. Now it's just we're going to have to wait and see what they get for any HPCI deals or anything like that. If anything for that materializes even, all right, it's a tough space to be in there. There's a lot of people looking for customers, and there's not maybe as many customers as we might think. So we will see how that plays out. So I wish them all the best on that, but definitely really, really happy with the way that they are operating right now with Bitcoin mining in general, right? This is what you need. You need great operations. You need uptime and everything else to get a return on the investment you put into it. For them, it's also the immersion cooling, it's the miners, the buildings, everything else. The higher the uptime, the faster you can pay that stuff off. So definitely like seeing that. And that's just kind of the way I look at it. Okay. All right. So that is it. I'll make this spreadsheet available to all my Patreon members. As always, link for that is down in the description if you want to join and get access to those. I do provide those whenever I do update these, and I haven't updated them in a couple of days here since probably Monday, I think was the last time we did it, or actually Tuesday when Bitfarms provided that update. So I'll get this out to you guys either tonight or tomorrow sometime. So be aware of that. That's happening there. And I'm still working on, obviously, trying to figure out a format for the AI companies we're going to be discussing here in the future coming up. That's a work in progress. I'll hopefully have something more concrete for you guys, possibly like next week. I'm going to work a little bit more on it over the weekend here when I have a little more time. But I'm just trying to nail the format, kind of like we have it here, but I'm trying to make it so it's more useful with the HPCI companies, right? With like big guys like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and then smaller players below that as well, what they are doing, whether it's software or hardware related or combination of both even. Okay, so we'll look at all that stuff later on. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think, there to figure all this stuff out. And I'm sure it's going to change over time as we get into it, as I pull more data on the companies as well. I'll probably get ideas of what I want to put into there as well, and we'll keep updating it until we have a nice, consistent format like we do here. All right, that's it. Let's get into Q&A. That was my little sales pitch there, but let's see what you guys have to say here. See how was your guys' day overall. Hopefully you guys didn't lose too bad on the markets today, but it is going to be a tough couple days here, couple weeks maybe. As always, if you preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to scroll up here and work my way down, see if there's any comments that I haven't missed or questions. Let's see. All right, there we go. Aaron says, I never knew Cleanspark had some Blackrock funding. I need to do better on my due diligence. I knew Blackrock was in there, but I didn't know it was this high, right? Definitely increased a lot higher. I knew there were single digits percentages there, but this is definitely not nice. What else do we have? All right. Why did the miners go down? The only reason I can think of is just the markets in general. People are, skittish in the market right now. I think there's fear. So when there's fear, they flee to safety. Safety is being in cash, basically. So I think that's kind of what happened there. Manu says, America sold out its manufacturing base over the past few decades. Yeah, I mean, for cheaper goods, right? That's kind of what we did. Oh, yeah, Manu, thank you so much. Yep. Activist investor is what I was looking for when I was talking about BlackRock. Hopefully it doesn't become like an activist investor there. But maybe if they do and go for good reasons or good things, maybe that is going to be a good thing. Right? But it's not always good. Question, Sebastian, why would you buy more miners knowing they are being held down by shorting? For me, it's been a horrible experience thus far. All there is hopium. The only reason I can think of why I would still buy into the miners is because I still believe that the bull run for Bitcoin is not over with. And I think, maybe I'm naive here, maybe I'm wrong, which I could be wrong. But I think if Bitcoin gets to like 150,000, closer to 200,000, I think the shorts are going to cover. I think they're going to let them run. Maybe they won't cover completely, but we're not going to see like 30, 35% short interest on some of these guys. I think it's going to come down. I think we're due for a short squeeze on some of these things. So that's kind of the reason why. But we'll see. You know, could definitely be off on that. All right. Hi, Seb, which miner has the higher HODL to market cap? Mara right now. Mara, I think. We'll see what Cleanspark's at. I mean, Cleanspark right now is pretty low as of last report, which would have been for February here. But Cleanspark was only at, let me see here, at that time, 44%, right? Who else has a HODL position here? Bitfarms has a small HODL position. They're only at 20%. I probably should pull this up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see. So I don't expect those things to change too much on there. Cypher also had a slight HODL there, 10% only on it. Hive was at 90. Okay, so Hive's getting kind of high there, right? 94% as well. Pretty close to where Mara is right now. Hot 8. We'll see where that one's coming in at, 76%. IREN doesn't have anything, and it's just Mara and Riot right now. So those guys, it looks like Hive and Mara are the ones that have the HODL to market cap ratio the closest, being, well, Mara's now over it, right? Their market cap is 3.8 billion based on my numbers, unless there's more shares out, which could price it up. But right now, BTC value is roughly 3.9 billion. So, yeah, doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, so there's that. What else we got here? Talked about that. Talked about that. Okay, question here. Is BlackRock shorting the Cleanspark shares they're buying? That I don't know. But that's probably more shares that are, well, no, it's not. But it'd be definitely a large percentage of it. It'd be like half of the shares being shorted there then. Okay, Kevin, how you doing? Thanks for coming in here. Vic has a question as well. Does anyone know a good shrink to go to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to go to if buy another miner? Don't know about that. Somebody in that area might be able to point you to somebody. Are either IREN or Cleanspark in the position of having to get their remaining ASICs from countries under tariffs, or do they already have them in the United States? Cleanspark is, I don't know. They haven't reported as far as how many miners they have, but I'm guessing they need, how many more miners do they need here? Let's take a look. Cleanspark, based on last month's, not March's, but February's numbers, right? Let's see if I have it over here. Did I put it in here? Number of miners total installed here. So let's see. They have about 15 exahash of growth left, almost 16 roughly. So we're looking at approximately, what is that, 10 to, is it going to be 10,000? No, it's going to be more than that. How many miners is that? So let's see here. We got, that's hash rate. We got 276,000 miners to be fully installed to get to 56. They are operating at, what is that at? 210, so we need another 60,000 miners roughly. That's a lot. I don't know if those are already in the United States, if they're already been shipped out or whatnot, or if they already have them. They could already have them. We just don't know. IREN is also in a little bit of a similar boat here. They have, let's see here, 186 miners in right now, based on what I can calculate roughly. And they should have, by the time everything is said and done here, I'm getting to 57, but I think they said they're getting to 52. So we could take out approximately, it's roughly, was it 5,000 miners per exahash. So take away 5, so that's 25,000 less. So yeah, they should be getting like 290, right? 290,000 units altogether, and they're at, yeah, I mean, they still have a ways to go too. So yeah, they have a little bit more to go than where Cleanspark is. But they also reported they're at 30, what are they at now? 34 exahash? 34 or 35, I can't remember now. They provided an update on Monday here. So they still have a ways to go, and we don't know if they also have those. They never provide that kind of data. What's in transit, what's been delivered. It'd be nice to have that data, but they don't provide it. All right, let's go back here. All right. Could you please share what the MNAV is for Bitfarms, Mawson, and Hive? Which one is the lowest, cheapest value? I don't have the MNAV. I'll have to run that number. But we can do that probably for tomorrow. Let's see. MNAV for the miners. Okay. Put that on my to-do list. We'll figure that out. Okay. So come back tomorrow. We'll get that done. All right. Quick question here. I'm planning to buy the dip on Hive soon. How long do you think if we wait to start buying dips? I'm thinking Mayish. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any cash right now to be buying anyways, but I would be buying if I could. I'd be just dollar cost averaging. I wouldn't be putting everything all at once because we don't know where the bottom's going to be on this stuff. So I would be slowly buying into them. But I think Mayish might be the time around when we start turning around, maybe, depending how this tariff things clears up. But yeah. All right, Steven says Hive might be going under $1. Wouldn't touch them. Who knows? Another reverse split. That's going to take a while for them to do a reverse split. Yeah, I mean, they did a reverse split, what was it, 2 years ago now? I'm trying to remember. Fairfax says, you were early tonight. Yeah, I got things done early, so I was actually able to come on early. It's nice. Okay, all right. Ethan says, yes, of course, the convertible debt is still debt, even if it's interest-free, so you have to include that in any valuation of Mara. Yeah, but it's a few years out, right? So Bitcoin kind of does what it's supposed to do and go up in value. They can possibly pay that off, one way or another, or refinance the debt or reconvert the debt like they've done here recently. Let's see, TJ, good evening. Ron, how you doing as well? Let's see, Heisey has a question here. Question to A at AREN. And anyone else here wondering, if you guys go on Yahoo Finance, look up stock, you can look up the holders tab and see the institutional ownership. Look up Cleanspark, Blackrock, and Vanguard. Yeah, there's that data available as well. There's a lot of data. Let's see. Definitely buying. Let's see. All right, great. Do you factor in cost to mine in your equations? A company like IREN has an all-in cost to mine that is half a Mara. How is that factored into your math? That is, let me see. I'm trying to think. It's factored in a little bit, but not much. And it's based on the mark, let me see. Let's go over here. So the way I do that is, right, so if you think 50% net income, 75% net income, right, so that's kind of where I kind of use that ratio, basically, where I think they might be at. I mean, it's pretty close to where the institutions are also looking at the NLS, and that has worked out pretty well. We got pretty close to a lot of these guys here in the past 2 years or so on where things are standing in at, as well as if you look at the rest of it. But I get what you're saying with IREN, right, being at their break even here. We can take a look at it here. We did this. This is an estimate here on the break evens for these guys here, right? IREN being at 42,000 break even without share-based compensation. So it's basically just cash expenses, but you include stock-based compensation and depreciation. Things definitely look different there. But Marathon, right, came in at 75,000 to break even on that. So yeah, there is definitely a disparity there, but Mars is also a lot bigger. They have been improving as well, but they have a huge HODL position there as well. So they're not being valued on one. Either not being valued on the HODL or they're not being valued on the operations right now, which is kind of crazy. You would think they would be valued at least equally on both a little bit, even if, all right, give them the valuation of their operations at, 50%, 35%. They still should be valued from where they are right now, just on that alone. So, but I get what you're saying. All right, let's see. All right, don't the miner ASICs count under the semiconductor exemptions as they are required to mine? That I don't know. Is it specific semiconductors I don't know. I'm sure we may find out later on this month. We might get some updates from the companies. Maybe we can ask them on X. Reach out to them. Hey, are you guys affected by this in any way? That would be good to know. All right. Why not just buy WGMI instead of the individual miners? Well, you could do that as well. I do have that in my retirement account. So that's tax-free. That's growing there. But recently here, WGMI has actually been like one of the worst performing ETFs. So if the miner's going down as well, that's the reason for it. But there's another ETF that has done actually better than it. Let's see, where is it at? BitQ, actually historically, since I got into it back in January of 2023, has done actually better performance-wise than WGMI here. I wish I would have went more 50-50 on these, but I went more heavy on WGMI. I just liked the stocks that they had picked in there, more so than I did BitQ at the time. And then they changed things around on me, and then BitQ actually has performed a little bit better. Not by much, but a little bit better. All right. Kevin says, thanks for doing that, Sebastian. I'll be back tomorrow to see what values you come up with. Oh, excellent. Yeah, definitely more than welcome to do that. All right, and then Ron's got a question here. With Trump's tariffs and rising volatility driving inflation and eroding trust in the fiat, could this accelerate BTC adoption and bring us closer to global currency sooner than later? I've heard that as well on some spaces, on X, on other places. People are definitely pushing that narrative. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think they do want to weaken the dollar a little bit, right? Because our value of the dollar, you can buy so much more for it, which then props up the other countries that are devaluing their currency. So there might be something to that. I don't know, but I don't know if Bitcoin can be the thing that takes over that. I don't even know if we want Bitcoin to be the standard of everything. I don't know. I'm not an economist. I don't know how that would impact everything, but I just don't know right now. So, but we'll see. See, Emic says, why can't anyone kill me? Because I'm already dead. Inside, at least. I'm guessing you're dead inside from all the pain and the market's going down and everything else. Yeah. Manu's got a question. Is there an easy way to differentiate between which institution is long versus short on a miner? Oh, I wish I could figure that out too. I've been trying to find that information, and I think unless you have like a Bloomberg terminal or one of those terminals where you pay a hefty, several $1,000s a month for, I don't know if we're going to be able to find that out easily, at least. Yeah. I've been looking for services that provide that, but I haven't been able to find anything that's good. If you guys know of anything, it's not too expensive, $20, $30 a month or something like that, maybe I'll buy that, but I can't find anything. So I'm in the same boat you guys are. Having that information, I think, would be awesome. Having all the information. I mean, all this stuff should be available to the public already as it is. A lot of stuff is gated behind these paywalls and, but it is what it is. All right, we got a couple more questions coming in here, and then we'll call it a day, I think. S says, I noticed miners peak when DXY bottoms. Looks like we're heading to 97 around mid-June. All right, that's good. I'll take it. Could be a crazy run here. Yeah, I also heard somebody say that this month we could be like at 100,000 by the end of the month here. I mean, Bitcoin is not doing that bad, all things considered. So that might be the bottom here for us. We'll see. All right, but that is it. We're going on. Well, today was pretty short, almost 40 minutes here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, tonight. Maybe Cleanspark will report tomorrow. I'm not sure. They're usually pretty good at reporting relatively early, so I'm surprised that they haven't done it already. And then we'll look at whatever else happens on the miners, any news, any developments or anything like that on it. But just be patient. Don't lose your sanity over all this stuff. There's, always a brighter day ahead. There's going to be maybe a couple days in the clouds and rainy that are looking crappy, but there's always going to be a bright and sunny day after that. So just be patient and, take it easy out there. All right. Thank you so much for coming in as always. Love having you guys here. Love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow, probably around the same time.